the, and I'll really just ask for indulgence. We'll do a quick amendment to the Assembly. Within the next, I can commit 2 weeks, yeah, we can have that legislative, intervention by us, because we feel very strongly the reason why even from 2015, even the people who passed themselves were not able to implement it is because of those shortcomings. Chair, if you look at those actual provisions, for instance, when you talk about 2% to the emergency fund, without necessarily calling it that, the amount we've put in the sector is actually more than that 2%. We put a budget of 244 million. We've passed another supplementary addition of 300, which comes to 544. If you look at 2% of that last revenue, it would be possibly 400 million. So the resourcing is there, towards that area of disaster management. But we want to look at disaster management more than just responding to fires. Of course, we built new stations. We're building a fire station now in Gikomba. We're doing a station in Kangemi, additional one at what do you call this, Kiumbuini area. We're increasing our equipment. We are using more of digital, tech responses, so that at your EOC, which is the Emergency Operation Center, when somebody calls 1508 in case of an emergency, it shouldn't be, Bramwell saying, nani akona ambulance, nani akona, just automatically it sees where you're calling from and routes to you the nearest emergency support that you require, whether it's an ambulance, a fire engine, etc. Chair, the bridges is asking about the infrastructure that we're repairing. The infrastructure is all over the city. Hospital Road, Kiambu, Jerusalem, in Mathare North. A lot of it, actually half of the affected areas in Nairobi has been in Mathare, the Mathare River. The problem this time is that the rivers burst their banks, and so along, we have around 9 or so rivers in Nairobi, but the 3 main ones, Mathare River, Ngong River, and Nairobi River, are the ones that burst their banks. And if you see, even after the evacuation, there's been no more drowning in the city, where we've moved people from the riparian. There's been no more deaths caused by drowning, apart from some people who, you can see you're told not to drive or not to go across a bridge. And it's so sad when you see those videos of people being swept away and they had been told not to go. I saw that in Njiru, in Mwiki Clay City, that bridge where I went to, and now we're repairing the side rails of that bridge. I went to a place called Budalangi, where I had a similar problem. In fact, I suspect it's called Budalangi because of the flooding. That's in Kasarani. Went to Infinity, the lower lying areas where the Athi River is now, completely taken over. That is in Kamulu and Ruai in Kasarani constituency. If you go to Ngumba, we have a problem with the bridge, sorting it out. Huruma Madoya, Kisifut Bridge, Kiambi Uhuru. In fact, for full disclosure, the request to postpone school opening really came from Nairobi County. It's just that the minister announced it too late. I went and I said, look, in some of these areas where you've entirely cut off, the children in Kwaruben who go to school in Lungalunga, if schools are open, children will still try to find a way, and it will be very dangerous. And so we ask that please allow us to do emergency procurement to sort these bridges. And we said we'd need probably 5 to 6 days. If you go right now, work is going on in all of those bridges across the city. We just had one area, Tirop will remind me where it is. I think it's Mosque Road, a footbridge, where the water level was still too high for us to do the bridge. Some of these bridges were very low. I was in Nyando the other day, the Nyando Bridge in Kibra, where you have Lanisaba and Lindi wards coming together. That's a motorable bridge. It was too low. Even as we do it, we'll now make it higher, so that even when the water levels rise, they will not be able to push away those bridges. So, Chair, that is our intervention for now. Allow us to send that legislative proposal, because the length it will take us to send it is the same period of time it will take us to activate this council.
Yeah, I think you are committed to, I think the next, was it 2 months or 2 weeks?
2 weeks to have sent it.
Fine, let's, so where do we get this information you are sharing with the Senate? Do you have an information center so that I don't have to look for Sakaja to know about the bridges and the number of deaths and the interventions? Is there a central information point? Because that was also part of the mandates of that council. So in the meantime, where do we get this information?
In the meantime, it should be on our website, because we've been given updates, and the updates that I give always, put up there. All inquiries we've channeled through 1508. We've asked the CA to also give us a more, a better number that is easier for Nairobians to remember, maybe 047 or something that we can still use for the county. That is, an emergency number. The problem is that if today you ask a Nairobian, if in case of a fire, what number do you call? Most don't know. And so we've been doing a campaign of, advertisements on radio, on TV, just letting people understand, what to do in case of an emergency, different protocols, how to test the water. And we're just trying to do much of that public information beyond just me going to the press. Because when I go to the press, then they get derailed and ask a lot of political questions. So sometimes you'll see Bram is the one who I send, so that it can be restricted to the areas of disaster.
Oh, okay. I think let's leave it at that. Senator Sifuna, is it a question or just a...
Yes, Governor, clarify for comment. Me. You said the county did not receive any money for the El Nino rains.
Yes.
What support have you received from national government for the current flooding? And also there was a pronouncement by the Deputy President during his visit to Mradi.
Yes.
Whether that money is now with you.
No, there's... Nairobi County has not received money for disaster. And ideally we should not. We're able to if we get our resources that we're supposed to get. But the interventions that we've agreed can be handled by the national agencies. For instance, there is no need to send us money for the cash transfers, because these people have been identified by a joint team that has the national government officers and the county government officers. If it's easier for the national government to give that money, and mostly they do it through Red Cross, to give the money to Red Cross, to send the money directly, we're okay. It is easier, it will take us a shorter time than going through the COB and then saying which budget was this. It's actually easier for national government to be able to do that directly. Much of the support, for instance, on the bridges, that one has been now directly handled. So Kura is taking care of that. There are those that we're doing as a county based on our budget, but there are those that the national government is doing, which would be counted as support to Nairobi. But instead of giving us the money for us to now start procuring a new, contractor, they're able to now contract directly, and we're happy with that.
So what the support is not in cash, it's in kind.
There's no cash support.
It's in kind, it's through services, infrastructure.
Through services, infrastructure. But the county is expanding.
But is it quantifiable yet, or it's still flowing, so you can't quantify?
Well, it's quantifiable. I think we can be able to quantify what kind of support has been given so far.
What number would you put on it so far?
So it's not cash received by Nairobi, but the interventions the government is undertaking in Nairobi so far, I would put at around 500 million.
500 million?
Yes.
What about the other proclamation you're talking about? I'm not privy to it.
Sorry.
Yes, during Mradi, Governor, and because you have teams down there,
yeah.
If somebody stands up and says all the 40,000 victims are going to get 10,000 shillings, can you confirm to us if any of those people in those camps have received that money?
According to the county,
that would come to 400 million.
Yes,
I'd have to look at that. According to the county government, from what I know, and the CFO is here, that has not been done by the county government. So
I'm asking, I can ask from the national government.
Yeah.
You have your teams in the camps there. Have any of the affected people receive that money?
We can ask before the end of the meeting.
As you sit here, you can just say yes or no.
No, I don't want to give a wrong answer. Let me just ask the county admin.
Okay, and the Mradi one?
That's what I'm saying. I want to ask the sub-county admin to tell us if there was a proclamation by a member of the national government, a senior officer, that they will receive some amounts of money, they should be able to do it. So I want to find out if they actually received that money. I know some of these victims.
And that is the reason we started by insisting that we need to implement the law as it is, to avoid the roadside proclamations. And so we hope that your disaster and emergency management response will be bound and guided by the law. Now, honorable members, I think we've done justice to this matter.
There was just one question the senator asked that I think would be good for it to have a response.
In a minute?
And to allay the issue of the qualifications of the staff in the sector. Because I had seen things before in social media that are not true. That the head of disaster has a degree in theology.
What degree does Bramwell have?
So Bramwell, though many disasters have.
No, let's start with Bramwell. Bramwell, what's your background? What's your qualification?
Chair, I have a degree in strategic management, a master's in strategic management, but I have a BA in English and literature.
In English and literature, I guess you need some English to manage disasters.
But I've also done a lot of short courses on disaster. But just to maybe...
And the other two directors?
So the other two directors, the director in charge of fire and rescue services has a BSc in disaster management and a diploma, and is currently doing a master's in crisis management at what's it called? The Defense College. That's the director. His deputy has
Chair, perhaps because I'm the one who put up that post, allow me to guide
and
this conversation.
I was going to answer.
Order, Bramwell.
I can see Bramwell is trying to be clever. Bramwell, is there an officer called Anastasia Sombua in your department?
Yes,
What is her position?
She's a principal fire officer.
What is her qualification?
She's in theology.
Correct.
And there's
Let's
nothing wrong
move
with
to
that,
the next
Senator,
one. Just a minute.
Because disaster management.
Just a minute.
Yes, sir.
Just a minute.
Yes.
Is there somebody called Juliana Nzuk?
Correct.
What is her position?
I think she's also a principal, if I'm not wrong. But
Yes. What is her qualification?
she has. I was just looking at it a minute ago.
So that it is not, Governor,
Yeah.
seeing that we just perpetuate fake news on the media,
Yeah.
and it is intended to help you reallocate these resources in a manner that will be most efficient for the people of Nairobi. Juliana Nzuki has a degree in theology as well.
Can you confirm that, Bramwell?
I'll go through the list.
Bramwell, can you confirm that?
I can confirm that, Chair.
Good. Let's go to Brian Kariuki, the Chief Fire Officer.
He's not chief fire officer.
What is
There is no
his-
gentleman called Brian Kariuki.
He is, but he's not the chief fire officer.
What is his position?
He's probably just part of the fire team.
What is his qualification?
I would have to check. as
He
well.
is a library, is a degree in library studies. You will check with me.
Yes.
Lastly, Chair, Disaster Management Officer, Belinda Anyango. Is she there?
Yes, she is.
What is her position?
I wouldn't, but I would agree with whatever she.
No,
qualification she has.
Bramwell. You are not going to.
But, Chair, I need to clarify
Bramwell,
something.
order. We will put you on oath
Yes.
if you proceed that way. Senator Sifuna?
Yes, Bramwell, Belinda has a degree in tours and travel.
Okay.
Yes, there is a mismatch of skills in your department. And when we bring them up, it's not that because we have anything against you or against these officers. They could be more useful in other departments. That's the point that we are making. So you don't need to become defensive.
Chair, allow me to say
We have
this.
that matter
Allow me to
rests
say- allow me
there
to say this,
because
Chair, with all due respect.
Order, Bramwell.
With all
That-
due respect, Chair. We just want need to clarify.
Governor, you must guide your officers that
I see
anything
your-
they say is through you, and if they insist on speaking, we must put them on oath. So I have ruled as a chair that the facts have been presented. You have theologians and librarians in the fire department. That's a fact. Whatever explanations you give, maybe they need to rearrange the books after the fire, or they need to pray for the people who have died. That can be dealt with later. Members, let us go back to the audit report. Let us go back to the audit report.
Chair, through you.
The county executive walked in here at 12:10. It is 2:23. It is 2 hours later. We have dealt with a very important live matter, but it's only one out of 50, out of 55 issues. So allow me, members,
Chair, you
for
didn't
us to
answer
be
the
able to
last
make
question
progress,
on
to go back
distress.
to the audit issues.
Because Senator Sifuna had asked about payments to victims, I had asked the governor to know how many Nairobians or the people that have died in Nairobi because of these floods, how many are in distress, so that it ties up with what Senator Sifuna was asking about the payment of 10,000.
Governor, that just state the number. Don't even explain. How many have died? Do you have the number? And how many are in distress? Just the number, without a story.
The number, Chair. Those who've died from flood-related issues, the number I have is 20
20?
in Nairobi.
And those in distress?
60,000 families were affected.
60,000 families.
Yeah.
Families means
60,000
households.
individuals.
Households, not
Individuals.
not head count.
Individuals.
It's 60,000 individuals.
So that's around 13,000 or so households, depending on, some households are small, others are.
Okay, I think that suffices. Senator Onyonka, could you allow us to proceed to...
Yes,
the audit?
proceed, sir. Proceed.